It is said that God will deliver you from the fire, through the fire, or with the fire. 10 years ago, God's hand reached down and steered our car and delivered me through the fire. It was a little bit scorched, but I was alive, and I was thankful for that. Over the next several years, he put many, many helpers in my life. People who gave their ideas and their treatments medically, people who had other ideas. Some were helpful, some were not, but all in all, they had one thing in common. They all required me to go to them for their ability and their time. Because of that, I was consumed by my pain. My time was gone. I was at medical appointments constantly, and it was all dependent on the abilities of the people that I had found. Western medicine didn't really do what I needed it to do because I only had the options of drug treatments or surgeries, and I didn't really like either of those options. So I continued to look for other options. Now, the one thing that the doctors had told me is keep moving. If you stop moving, you'll lose the mobility that you have. So I sought out a yoga class, which is when I met Renee. And when I walked into class, I thought Renee was just a typical yoga instructor, but boy was I wrong. At the end of the first class, she read a devotion. Further down the road, she read an inspiration that was written by a rabbi. This was a secular yoga class, but it was so different. As I got to know Renee better, I found out that her background was actually in nursing. So I took some private lessons with her and found out that she really understood not just yoga, but she understood how our bodies worked and what I could do from a yoga perspective to make things better. I followed Renee for quite a while through yoga. And then in 2018, she opened the Somatic Center for Chronic Pain. I thought, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. So I went to a class at this center and I was hooked. The headache that I had been struggling with for the previous 2 weeks was gone. 1 hour class and it was gone. Nothing else had worked. I took some more classes, did some private sessions with Renee, and during that time, she helped me to build a toolbox full of things that I could use when I needed them. If I had a headache, I could pick out a few of those tools that treated that specific ailment. If I just wanted to keep things going the way that they were, I could do a series of exercises that would keep me balanced and moving the right direction. Over the next several minutes, what I'd like to do is to talk to you about what somatics really is. I want to give us a chance to actually try some somatics, and then I'm going to go back and wrap up with some information about Renee. According to Renee's website, HANA Somatic Education Therapy works with motor sensory loop by gently resetting the resting tone of your muscles. When we experience physical or emotional trauma, muscles chronically contract, causing less optimal movement patterns and pain. HANA Somatic Education Therapy teaches you to take control of your pain and immobility by learning slow and gentle exercises that awaken our brain's awareness to new muscle patterns, allowing you increased mobility, less pain, and freedom to do the activities that you enjoy. As I mentioned, for me, somatics gave me a toolbox, a set of exercises that I could do whenever I wanted. So all of a sudden, instead of being dependent on somebody else, I could depend on myself. I can't even explain the level of hope that gives you when you actually know I can do something about this instead of I have to go see this person to do something about this. So we're going to try some somatics. Now, a typical somatics workout is done lying on your back. And unlike a regular gym workout where you have a lot of physical activity, it's actually a brain workout. When you have a trauma, as Laurel talked about, or a chronic pain that you keep coming up, your body is smart enough to go, this muscle is injured, I'm not going to use it anymore. I'm going to use these muscles over here so that I don't have to use this one. What happens is your brain actually gets amnesia to that muscle and stops using it. So what somatic says is it reconnects your brain to that muscle, and the muscles that are super, super tight, it actually helps them to relax. There's a couple of things that you want to think about whenever you're doing yoga or somatics. First of all, is your practice. So I'm going to suggest that you close your eyes because having all of the sensory input can be distracting. If you don't want to, please don't. It's whatever you want. Most exercise focuses on contracting muscles. It's the releasing of muscles that somatics focuses on. You never, ever, ever want to move into pain because you're trying to reduce pain. And so if you do a movement that puts you in pain, it won't be effective for somatics. And then smaller and slower movements are actually better. So if something hurts, you can just imagine contracting that muscle, and that will help you to start healing more quickly. So I'm going to start an audio, and we're going to give it a try. This audio is about 7 minutes, so I've instructed Marlis to not worry about recording this part. We'll just take 7 minutes off of my time at the end. And I have it on my phone. I'm going to sit here, so if you are confused, you can look at me. We'll give this a try.
Seated in a chair, feet on the floor, so that your back isn't against the chair. So sit a little forward in the chair. Find your weight over your sit bones. And just settle into your posture. Turn your head a small amount to the right. Tilt your right ear towards your shoulder, once again, a small amount. Shrug your right shoulder towards your right ear. Tip your head back and slide your elbow behind you. Slowly release your head, neck, shoulder, and arm to rest in your lap. And again, turn your head a small amount to the right. Tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder. Shrug your right shoulder towards your ear. Tip your head back. Slide your right elbow behind. Slowly release head, neck, shoulder, arm. Letting your arm rest back into your lap. Weight over your sit bones. Let's try that one more time. Turn to the right, small. Tilt your right ear towards your right shoulder, small. Shrug your right shoulder towards your ear. Tip your head back. Slide your elbow back. Slowly release. Now turn your head to the left. Tip your head back and shrug your right shoulder so that the back of your head and your right shoulder are coming towards each other. Slide your right elbow behind you and slowly release your head, neck, shoulder, allowing your arm to rest in your lap again. Again, turn to the left. Now tip your head back, shrug your right shoulder. Back of your head and your right shoulder are moving towards each other. Bring your right elbow behind and very slowly release. And rest. One more time, turn to the left. Shrug your right shoulder and tip your head back towards your right shoulder. Slide your right elbow behind. And slowly release. Now turn your head a very small amount to the left. Tilt your left ear towards your left shoulder. Shrug your left shoulder. Tip your head back and slide your left elbow behind. Slowly release. Your head, neck, shoulder, and arm to rest in your lap. And again, turn your head a small amount to the left. Tip your ear towards your shoulder. Shrug your left shoulder towards your left ear. Tip your head back and slide your left elbow behind. And slowly release. One more time like this. Turn to the left. Tilt your ear towards your left shoulder. Shrug your left shoulder, tip your head back, and slide your left elbow behind. Slowly release. And rest. Turn your head now to the right. Shrug your left shoulder and tip your head back towards your left shoulder. Slide your elbow behind and slowly release. Turn your head to the right. Shrug your left shoulder and tip your head back towards your left shoulder. Slide your elbow behind and slowly release. One more time, just like that. Turn your head to the right. Shrug your left shoulder, tip your head back towards your left shoulder. Slide your left elbow back. Very slowly release. And rest. Sense your weight back over your sit bones. Sense your relaxed shoulders. Sense less tension in your upper back and neck, maybe even in your lower back as well. This completes your seated neck exercises.
That gave you a brief introduction to somatics. It's one of those witch doctor practices that we don't hear about very often, so I wanted you to take a few minutes to just try it, because for me it has been life-changing. A mentor is someone who is knowledgeable in a specific area and is willing to walk with you, especially when you are embarking on a new journey. During my somatics class last Tuesday, I realized for me, this person has been Renee. She's dedicated, she's helpful, she's willing to take the time to understand my needs and to really help me along my path. I'm forever thankful that God provided me with her to help me along the way. If you're frustrated with what Western medicine offers you for chronic pain, if you want to try something new, or if you're interested in a different approach, I encourage you to consider somatics. If I had listened to doctors, I would have been stuck with surgery or drug treatments, and they either would not have been as effective, or they would have been a decision that I had to make 10 years ago. We're lucky to have Renee available. She is the only piano somatics educator in the Midwest area. It's very, very popular on the coasts, but it hasn't made it to the center of the country yet. So to have her in Stillwater is just fantastic. Regardless of your situation, somatics may or may not be for you, but I encourage you to always advocate for yourself and to never stop seeking. If you don't like the answer that you're hearing, look for another option. And when you find yourself on a new path, look for a mentor to walk alongside.